What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. Today I have a new release from Arrow, and it's from 1986, Sylvester Stallone's Cobra. Of course, this is a 80s action classic, and I want to become clean with you guys. I have never seen Cobra. I know, don't throw the hate at me. I remember it. I was 11 when it came out. I remember, I saw parts of it, I'm sure, on cable. I do remember little things of it. Obviously, you're the disease, I'm the cure. This is where the law stops and I start. And for some reason, the one that stuck out to me the most was, I always wanted a tougher name, like Alice. So those things always stuck with me. I remember seeing those in bits and pieces, and I knew of it, but I never actually sat down and watched it from beginning to end until getting this release from Arrow, this 4K. So I'm not really getting too much into the plot of Cobra because there's not a whole lot, for one. And two, I'm sure most of you probably are familiar with Cobra. But I will just give you my quick thoughts on it as seeing it for the first time. One, I loved it. It's great fun 80s action. I was telling Chris this, sometime earlier in the summer. I think it was this summer or was it last summer? It might have been last summer, the drive-in, and they showed Demolition Man. Yeah, it'd be last summer. And it's the first time Chris had seen an action like that. Like, man, they just don't make action films like this anymore. They don't. The 80s action movies are kind of like how the slasher genre was so big in the 80s. I mean, there's some of the action films that were bigger, larger, different. The heroes were, and this all tough, no nonsense, too cool for school kind of guys, and it was great. I mean, it was, oh God, it's such a breath of fresh air. And watching it, first of all, I'll just tell you, it looked beautiful. I had nothing to reference it to. Obviously, I've not seen any other video release. All I remember is my childhood viewing that on cable, glancing. So I have nothing compared to it, but I tell you, this did look amazing. But basically, what I liked, again, it just felt had a great 80s action charm. And I love that so much, and I miss that. And so they don't make movies like this anymore. So it makes these classics. They don't have these, kind of cool. I mean, I guess closest you probably have right now is maybe John Wick. And I haven't seen those movies either. So full disclosure, but I know how popular he is, but that's probably the closest I can find that kind of hero or action hero that's prevalent now. And that's Keanu Reeves. We're talking about, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, these huge guys back then, Jean-Claude Van Damme, whatnot, what have you. Another thing I really enjoyed was, I'll put this down. I got a whole minute all the time. Brigitte Nielsen, seeing her in this. Now, I'm familiar with Brigitte, is mainly, every time I've seen her before, it's always in, kind of a Amazonian, real tough, strong, powerful woman, role. And mainly like, Red Sonja, Conan the Destroyer, Beverly Hills Cop 2. She's always, that kind of, woman. Here she's playing like the damsel in distress, which I've never seen Brigitte do. Which was, I thought she did, for what she had to do, which wasn't a lot of screaming, obviously looking scared, but it was cool because I've never really seen Brigitte Nielsen portray vulnerable and terrified. And so that was kind of cool to see that. Something I think could have been fleshed out more, and I think this is agreements all the way across the board, is probably the villain plot. That was it, the Night Strangler, played by Brian, is it Johnson? I think his name was. Remember right? I'll have to go here. I'm pretty sure it's Johnson or Brian Thompson. One of the two, I can't remember. It'll be here. I'll get it correct. Yeah, I'll go through it in a little bit. Well-known character actor. You see him he plays a heavy in so many things. And he plays sinister and menacing. He's got that look that this epitomizes like a scary villain. What is it? Because we talk to him off screen, seems like the sweetest, nicest guy, which happens a lot. With a lot of these kind of stereo or typed actors or whatever you will. But The weakest part, again, the motivation. You kind of get what he's going with his monologue at the end. The New World Order changes things. I get what he's kind of trying to say. How the system is broken. We'll be out. We'll free whatever, trying to cleanse it. But the execution with there's an apparent cult is pulled off very weakly. I don't know if there's more to this than that, but they don't really explain. It's kind of just what I think you could have done away with the cult and just had him be a psycho killer on his own, going after Brigitte for as a witness or that kind of thing. But the cult thing just kind of fell a little flat. I didn't quite get it. But at the same time, it's an '80s action film. You don't need a whole lot of a serious plot. You just need a lot of action, and there's plenty of action in Cobra. As I said, it looked beautiful. It just had a nice '80s look from what you tell from the 4K. The colors are good. And there's a lot of. It's weird because watching the movie, it looks fine, and the colors seem just perfectly blend everything with the HDR and everything. But then you go to the special features and they show things in the movie and it's like oversaturated with the red. Now I don't know if that's because the HDR is turned off for the special features, not the movie. I don't know how it works, but the colors are way oversaturated when you're watching the film, and the special features got me kind of questioning, is that weird? But again, movie wise, it looks perfect and felt. Just some of those special features. It's even in the some interviews from the archive interviews, the scene lector, and it could be the TV settings. I don't know. But the film itself looked good. There's a couple of sound options on here, mostly mono. I did listen to it in the 5.1, and it was a pretty good mix. Nothing too crazy. Some good sound effects, surround sound effects, good directional effects. Again, with a lot of action, you kind of expect that in this kind of film, but not enough to just blow you away, so to speak. Very subtle and there when needed, not too much, but good. The music, when you have like the montages and the music playing, sounds really good in the surround. So that's good. So it sounded and looked great. Now, this apparently, excuse me, was previously released by Scream Factory, which I never purchased. This is the first time I've ever purchased Cobra in the Blu-ray. Now, which proves you because pretty much all the special features on here are from that Scream Factory release, with the exception of a very select few. Let's see. There's a whole lot to go on here. I'll just go ahead and let's go through what we have here. So you have a brand new 4K restoration of the film from the original 35mm negative by Arrow Films. So they did the restoration, which is really cool. It's presented in Dolby Vision, HDR10 compatible. Original lossless stereo 2.0, 4.0, and DTS HD MA 5.1 audio. I told you that's the one I listened to, and it was pretty good. You have English subtitles for deaf and hard of hearing. A brand new audio commentary by film critics Kim Newman and Nick De Semlien. So there's Kim Newman again. Brand new audio commentary by film scholars Josh Nelson and Martin Pedler. So here's the two new Arrow editions. Archive audio commentary by director George P. Cosmatos from '98. A TV version of the film featuring deleted and alternate scenes. Presented for the first time on home video in standard definition only. So that's something new from Arrow also, apparently. Slashing the Night Away. A new interview with computer. I got confused. I lost my line. Sorry. Slashing the Night Away. A new interview with composer Sylvester Levy. Dark Glasses, Violence, and Robots. A new visual essay by film critic Abby Bender on Cobra and Eddie's maximalist cinema. White Line Nightmare. A new visual essay by film critic Martin Contario on Cobra and the Maverick Cop genre. Stalking and Slashing. An archive interview with actor Brian Thompson. There it is, Brian Thompson. Meet the Disease. An archive interview with actor Marco Rodriguez. Feel the Heat. An archive interview with actor Andrew Robinson. Double Cross. An archive interview with actor Lee Garrington. A Work of Art. An archive interview with actor Art Lafleur. And The Making of Cobra. 1986 featurette. Teaser trailer, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and trailers, and of course the image gallery. So most of that is all from the Scream Factory release. The new stuff, basically, there's the two new commentaries. The TV version is new, and the two visual essays, which don't. they don't bring a lot to it. It's some of these essays. I mean, they're interesting, I guess, for people's take on, especially from a more modern perspective. Trying to break down certain genres. I saw this. I think it was on the Demolition Man release from Arrow. Also, they had this. And some of these, I don't know. I don't really. They're not. They just don't do too much for me. I mean, they're interesting to hear people's takes on them, but sometimes you're like, I don't know if they're celebrating the genre or deconstructing it to make it seem less than what it is. It's hard to tell. Sometimes you can go either way. I've seen some of these kind of retrospective essays on certain other releases where they kind of they're looking at something from the 80s in modern senses and almost deconstructing to the point where they didn't quite get it because they weren't there. But what are you gonna do? So those are they're only about 15 minutes, so it's not too bad. The only other special feature I got to list to was the Brian Thompson interview, which was about half an hour, 20 minutes so, which is very interesting to find. This is like his first major film in his career. He had done like a small bit in The Terminator, but it's like his first major role. And to hear he didn't have a whole lot of good experiences with director George P. Cosmatos, which is interesting and kind of sad for him. But I think it all worked out for him in the end. But I haven't had a chance to look at the rest of it. But there's a lot of feature on here. It's loaded. It looks great. It sounds good, and it's a fun movie. I'm glad I finally got to check it out after all these years. I don't know what I was missing. So let's take a very close look at the release. Now here is the slipcover, and here was the brand new artwork. Now what I liked that Arrow did was typically they put the new artwork on the slipcover, and keep that way you have the newer old artwork on the reverse side of this. But they didn't do that in this case. They put the original poster or artwork on the slipcover, which I think is good because I'm not really crazy about this artwork. It's a little too busy for me. I don't know. I get it. It representing the aviators, the guns, the Cobra. I get all the imagery, and I believe you even got the big knives from the Night Stalker. But this is just, I don't know. This isn't quite do it for me. So I really like this image better. This image better. Wow. Okay, I really like this image better. This screams Cobra more than this does. But that's why you have the slipcover. And if you didn't have a slipcover, you get this later on with not limited edition without a slipcover, then you can reverse it because the reverse artwork is this artwork. And inside, you've only got one disc. It is the 4K, and there's that artwork again. There, just make sure you're going to get it. And of course, you've got your poster, with obviously new artwork, but the original two with the nice white border. That's kind of cool. You don't really see that. Usually the posters bleed all the way to the edge, but you've got a nice white border on this, which makes it really nice for framing if you want to do that. And I'm sure many of you probably do. Make sure I fold that right. So there we go. And also included is the booklet with the pizza being cut by scissors. A lot of people obsess over this. I don't know why. I mean, I get why. It's a weird thing, and it's so it comes out of nowhere, and it's not really addressed. He just picks up cold pizza, cuts it, and eats it. Why? What it says? What's the purpose of it? It's like the seashell thing in Demolition Man. What does it mean? Although that is a joke that's recurs throughout Demolition Man. This just happens and you forget about, which makes it even more mysterious, I guess. In the back, you've got Brigitte with the robots in that great montage, and of course, just your typical booklet with write-ups, essays on the film, and all the good stuff that you usually get in these kind of things. So that is pretty much it for Cobra 4K from Arrow. Again, It's a great release. Now, if you have the Scream Factory edition, do you need to upgrade? I'm not one to say. I don't have the Scream Factory edition. It's the only one I got, so it's okay for me. And like I said before, most of the Scream Factory features are here. You only have a few, 2 new commentaries, the TV version, and the 2 visual essays. Oh, and I forgot the interview with the composer. That's new that's from Arrow also. So that's really your, up to you. Do you want to upgrade that or not? I mean, I don't know. I can't do a fair comparison and say this looks better than the Blu-ray because I have not seen Blu-ray. So I can't compare. I can't make that judgment. That's your call. But if you haven't gotten that Blu-ray and you want it Cobra, then definitely pick this up. Because again, also a 4K cable because it's only 4K, not Blu-ray. And that's probably why, because I think the Blu-ray is still available from Screen Factory, so it could be like Arrow has a 4K rights. I'm not getting it. That's a tangle web of things I never want to get involved in. But definitely, if you love the 80s, love Sly, Cobra, definitely worth picking up. Okay, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know, your thoughts on Cobra. Did you wait as long as I did to see it, or did you see it real as a kid? Unlike myself, and I missed out until just now. But I got to see it, so I got there eventually. Whatever the case may be, or just say hi. I'll always take hi. Until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.